The idea that being without a romantic relationship could be seen as anything other than a deficit is often met with skepticism. Society tends to hold assumptions about individuals who have spent a significant amount of time without a romantic partner. And these assumptions can be rooted in various perspectives, some of which are well-meaning, while others may not be so kind. And today I want to explore the idea that the longer a man goes without a romantic relationship, the more he transcends simple stereotypes. Let's start by recognizing the undeniable fact that prolonged periods of singleness can lead to increased self-reliance. Time spent living without the constant presence of a partner can help develop a powerful sense of independence. A man who has learned to rely solely on himself for emotional support, planning his daily life and solving everyday problems, is building a resilience that is both practical and admirable. He begins to understand the value of his own company, seeing solitude not as something negative, but as an opportunity to grow and reflect. Moreover, extended periods of being single often lead to shifts in priorities. When the energy once spent on a romantic relationship is redirected elsewhere, it creates room for growth in other areas of life, such as career ambitions, personal development, or pursuing hobbies and passions. Without the demands of romantic entanglements, a man might invest time in advancing his education, building a business, or focusing on a cause that resonates deeply with him. This focused energy can lead to meaningful achievements and a profound sense of personal fulfillment. Furthermore, time spent alone can lead to greater selectivity when it comes to relationships. After years of self-reflection, a man often has a clearer understanding of his personal needs, values, and desires. He becomes less likely to settle for relationships that do not align with his vision of a fulfilling partnership. He gains the ability to choose wisely, confident in his ability to determine what will truly add value to his life. However, we must also acknowledge the potential challenges that come with prolonged singleness. One of the most subtle yet insidious side effects can be social isolation. The absence of a romantic partner can sometimes lead to a gradual withdrawal from social circles, making it more difficult to build new relationships or maintain existing ones. It is important to recognize the importance of staying connected, not just for social reasons, but for emotional health as well. Ultimately, the effects of being single for a prolonged period vary widely, depending on individual circumstances, personalities, and coping mechanisms. While some men thrive in solitude, others may feel loneliness more acutely. Some use their time alone to focus on personal growth, while others struggle with feelings of isolation. Therefore, it's essential to discard simplistic stereotypes and adopt a more nuanced perspective. We need to recognize both the strengths and growth that can arise from periods of being single, while also acknowledging the potential pitfalls, offering support and understanding to those navigating this journey. The idea that self-reliance blossoms within the crucible of extended singleness is not a mere platitude. It is a powerful testament to the capacity for adaptation and growth that exists within each person. When a man faces the challenges of life without a romantic partner by his side, something deep within him shifts. He becomes the architect of his own life, the captain of his own ship, and the only navigator steering the course of his decision. This is not a passive state. It is a deliberate and active process. In doing so, he develops inner strength that serves as the bedrock of his existence. Imagine a man who, lacking a significant other, must learn to manage the emotional ebbs and flows of daily life. He confronts his vulnerabilities, wrestles with his fears, and taps into a well of resilience he never knew existed. In the absence of an external source of support, he becomes his own confidant, his own cheerleader, and his own source of comfort. While this can be a difficult process, it cultivates an extraordinary emotional autonomy. He learns to regulate his moods, find peace in his own company, and navigate the complexities of his emotions with grace and strength. Over time, he no longer seeks external validation to define his worth. Instead, he discovers that his true value lies within himself, a treasure uncovered through introspection and self-discovery. Beyond the emotional sphere, this self-reliance takes shape in more practical areas of life. Without a partner to share responsibilities, a man becomes skilled at handling everything from managing his finances to taking care of household chores to organizing his social engagements. The absence of a romantic partner demands a heightened level of organization, resourcefulness, and problem solving. He becomes adept at troubleshooting issues independently, trusting his own judgment and taking ownership of his circumstances. This ability to navigate daily life with confidence and competence translates into an overall sense of assurance that permeates all areas of his life. He becomes a master of his domain, capable of managing life with purpose and confidence. In addition to practical independence, this self-reliance fosters a deep sense of self-sufficiency. A man learns to meet his own needs, both physical and emotional, without relying on others for support. He experiences the satisfaction that comes with accomplishing tasks independently and overcoming obstacles through his own ingenuity. This self-sufficiency doesn't arise from a place of isolation, but from a deep understanding of his own capabilities. He begins to trust his instincts, rely on his own judgment, and face the world with a quiet confidence that comes from within. Of course, this journey toward self-reliance isn't without its challenges. There are times of loneliness, moments of doubt, and periods of frustration. But it is precisely through these struggles that a man forges his inner strength. He learns to embrace solitude not as a form of isolation, but as an opportunity for introspection and growth. He starts to appreciate the quiet moments, finds joy in his own company, and develops a rich inner life. Over time, he discovers that solitude is not a void to be filled, but a space to be explored, a blank canvas upon which he can paint his own masterpiece. This self-reliance is not about becoming a hardened individual who shuts the world out. Rather, it is about developing a strong inner core that enables him to engage with the world more authentically and confidently. It's about creating an inner peace that transcends external circumstances. It's about becoming a man who is comfortable in his own skin, who knows his worth, and who is capable of navigating life's complexities with grace and resilience. He becomes a man who stands tall, not because he leans on others, but because he stands firmly on his own 2 feet, grounded in the solid foundation of self-reliance. The notion of evolving priorities during a period without a relationship speaks to the transformative power of focused intention. When the demands of a romantic partnership are absent, a man's attention can shift. His energies can realign, and this redirection of focus often leads to a greater sense of purpose. It's not merely about filling an empty space. It's about discovering and nurturing the potential that lies dormant within. Consider a man who, freed from the constant negotiation of shared schedules and emotional needs, finds himself with an abundance of time and mental space. He can now dedicate himself to mastering a new skill, pursuing a long-held ambition, or immersing himself in a passion that excites his soul. This time isn't just about passing the hours. It's about investing in himself. It's about building a foundation of accomplishment and expertise that will benefit him in all areas of life. A career, which might have taken a back seat during the chaos of early romance, can become a primary focus. Without the distraction of a romantic relationship, he may choose to pursue advanced degrees, take on challenging projects, or start a business from scratch. The absence of romantic distractions allows him to apply a laser-like focus and a relentless drive that propels him toward success. This drive isn't about chasing material success. It's about finding fulfillment in meaningful work, about contributing his unique talents to the world. Personal growth takes center stage. A man may delve into philosophy, explore his creative side, or take a journey of self-discovery through travel or meditation. He might cultivate a deep appreciation for art, music, or literature, enriching his inner world and expanding his perspective. This is not an attempt to escape reality, but a conscious decision to embrace the depth and complexity of the human experience. The absence of a romantic partner also creates space for hobbies and passions to flourish. A man might dedicate himself to mastering a musical instrument, honing a craft, or taking on a physical challenge that pushes his limits. This isn't just about filling time. It's about finding joy and fulfillment in pursuits that bring him a sense of accomplishment and purpose. This transformation of priorities is not a selfish endeavor. Rather, it's about building a resilient self, a foundation on which future relationships can be built. A man who has cultivated his passions, achieved his goals, and nurtured his inner life will bring a wealth of experience and self-awareness to any partnership. He isn't looking for someone to complete him. He seeks a partner to share his life with. While this period of focused intention is not without its challenges, it is through these challenges that he strengthens his resolve, deepens his character, and discovers his true potential. He learns to trust his instincts, follow his heart, and create a life that is meaningful and fulfilling. He understands that life isn't about rushing toward a goal, but about enjoying the journey of self-discovery. Each step offers the chance for growth and transformation. He embraces the freedom to define his own path, create his own future, and live a life that is truly his own. The idea of heightened selectivity speaks to the transformative power of time and experience. As a man journeys through an extended period of singleness, he often emerges with a refined sense of self and a clearer understanding of what he truly desires in a relationship. This newfound clarity isn't about being excessively critical or demanding. Rather, it's about cultivating discernment and authenticity. He knows what he needs and deserves in a partnership and is no longer willing to settle for anything less than a meaningful connection. Through his years of self-reflection and growth, a man becomes someone who is deeply in tune with his strengths, weaknesses, and desires. He has learned from both past successes and mistakes, and he now enters into future relationships with a clear vision of what will complement his life. He is not defined by the absence of a partner, but by the fullness of who he is and the life he has created for himself. A man in this phase is not looking to create a list of superficial traits. It's about identifying shared core values, common interests, and a deeper compatibility that goes beyond temporary attraction. He has learned to recognize the difference between infatuation and a real connection. He understands that long-lasting relationships are founded on mutual respect, trust, and open communication. He is no longer swayed by passing emotions or outward charm. Instead, he looks for a partner who shares his values, supports his goals, and encourages his personal growth. This more selective approach isn't rooted in arrogance or pessimism. It comes from a deep respect for himself and the kind of partner he desires. He knows that a truly fulfilling relationship is a rare gift, and he will not settle for a connection that lacks depth or authenticity. Even if it means waiting, he has learned to place compatibility before convenience, substance before appearance, and true connection over fleeting infatuation. He realizes that a real partnership isn't about filling a void or completing some missing part of himself. It's about sharing life's journey, growing together, and creating a richer, more meaningful existence than either could experience alone. This journey of selectivity is not without its struggles. There will be moments of doubt, loneliness, and questions about whether he will ever find the connection he seeks. But it is exactly through these struggles that he sharpens his resolve, tunes his instincts, and deepens his understanding of what he desires. He learns to trust his gut, listen to his heart, and stay patient, hopeful, and persistent in his search for a meaningful relationship. He recognizes that the right partner is not a prize to be won, but a companion to be cherished. He is willing to wait for a bond that resonates on a profound and authentic level, a partnership built on mutual respect, trust, and unwavering support. He embraces the freedom to make wise choices, prioritizing his happiness, and creating a life filled with love, joy, and meaningful connection. He understands that the journey to true love is also a journey of self-discovery, and that every step is an opportunity for growth and transformation. He is a man who knows his worth, trusts his instincts, and is prepared to wait for a love that is truly extraordinary. The reality of risk and social isolation casts a long, subtle shadow, posing a silent but potent challenge for those who have been single for a while. It is a phenomenon that doesn't arise from a deliberate decision to withdraw, but rather from the gradual fading of social connections, a shift in priorities, and a potential disconnect from shared experiences. This is a challenge that calls for awareness, proactive effort, and a conscious dedication to maintaining meaningful relationships. Imagine a man fully immersed in his own independent life, gradually starting to drift away from the social circles he once enjoyed. The spontaneous gatherings, shared meals, and casual conversations that once brought joy become less frequent, replaced by the quiet solitude of his own company. This isn't a sudden break, but a slow, almost imperceptible distancing, a gradual separation that leaves him feeling increasingly disconnected. The lack of a romantic partner can sometimes create an invisible barrier, a sense of being different that makes full participation in social settings more difficult. He may feel like an outsider, an observer rather than a participant, struggling to find his place in a world that often revolves around couples and families. This sense of detachment can lead to further withdrawal, triggering a cycle of isolation. The demands of work, personal projects, or individual pursuits can also add to this social drift. Time that once went towards social engagements is now dedicated to other priorities, leaving less room for spontaneous connections. This isn't a conscious decision to isolate. It's simply the natural outcome of shifting priorities and the pressures of a busy life. Moreover, the absence of a partner may sometimes lessen the significance of shared milestones and celebrations. Occasions like birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries can feel less vibrant when experienced alone. These events, which would normally be full of meaning when shared with a significant other, might lose their emotional resonance. This can lead to a sense of emotional detachment, a feeling of disconnection from the rhythms of life that others seem to enjoy. However, this potential for social isolation is not an unavoidable result of being single. It is a challenge that can be mitigated through active effort, a commitment to nurturing meaningful relationships, and a conscious decision to stay engaged. It requires stepping out of one's comfort zone, reaching out to friends and family, and actively participating in social activity. It's about recognizing the importance of human connection, shared experiences, and the support and companionship that comes from being part of a community. It's about acknowledging that while solitude can be enriching, it should not come at the cost of meaningful connections. Ultimately, it's about understanding that while strength can be found in independence, true resilience often comes from the network of relationships that surround us. We are by nature social beings, and our well-being is deeply linked to our relationships with others. This serves as a reminder to actively cultivate and nourish the relationships that enhance our lives, and to avoid letting social isolation creep in unnoticed. Recognizing the variation in how individuals experience prolonged singleness is a crucial understanding. Human experience is diverse, and attempting to apply a one-size-fits-all approach to the experiences of those who are single is oversimplifying the complexity of human personalities, circumstances, and coping strategies. It's a reminder that generalizations can be misleading, and empathy requires a nuanced perspective. Consider two men, both in periods of prolonged singleness. One is an introvert by nature, content and fulfilled in the peace of his own solitude. He enjoys the freedom to pursue his passions, the independence to focus on his work, hobbies, and close-knit friendships. For him, singleness is not a burden, but a natural reflection of his personality and preferences. The other is an extrovert who thrives on connection and companionship. Solitude is challenging for him, often reminding him of what's missing. He longs for the intimacy and support of a romantic relationship, and struggles with the feelings of loneliness and isolation that come with being single. But these two men, both facing the same reality of being single for an extended time, experience it in vastly different ways. Their individual personalities, coping mechanisms, and situations shape how they perceive and navigate this phase of life. To apply a single narrative to their experiences would be a disservice to the complexity of their unique journeys. Moreover, personal circumstances significantly shape one's experience of being single. A man who has gone through a painful breakup or the loss of a loved one may carry emotional baggage that makes it difficult to open himself up to new relationships. Another man, focused on advancing his career or pursuing personal passions, may simply not have the time or emotional energy to dedicate to romantic pursuits. Coping strategies also vary greatly. Some men find comfort in physical activities, immersing themselves in fitness or outdoor pursuits. Others express their emotions creatively through art, music, or writing. Still, some lean on their friendships, building close-knit bonds with chosen family. The ability to adapt, find meaning, and create purpose during a period of singleness speaks to the resilience of the human spirit. Some men use this time for deep introspection, gaining insight into themselves and what they truly desire. Others use the period for personal growth, developing new skills or exploring new interests. Singleness is not a linear journey, nor is it a final destination. It is a dynamic process shaped by personal decisions, circumstances, and coping methods. Recognizing and respecting this variability affirms the dignity of each individual's path. It's important to acknowledge that there is no one-size-fits-all formula for happiness. The road to fulfillment is different for everyone, shaped by who they are and the choices they make. This is a call to abandon judgment, embrace empathy, and honor the diversity of human experiences. In conclusion, we have explored the complex nature of extended singleness in men, moving past oversimplified views to recognize the varied realities of individual experiences. We've seen how solitude can foster self-reliance, lead to evolving priorities, and increase selectivity in future relationships. Yet we have also seen the risk of social isolation and the importance of understanding the variability in how men navigate this journey. The key takeaway is that there is no universal story. Each man's experience is unique, shaped by his personality, circumstances, and choices. Let us approach this subject with empathy, understanding, and a deep respect for the dignity of each person's journey. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope this discussion has sparked meaningful thought and reflection.